All right, iPhone 15 Pros. We have two new phones, and again, iPhone 15 Pro and iPhone 15 Pro Max. They are the same screen sizes, but the first kind of notable interesting thing is the bodies are a little bit smaller and the bezels are a little bit trimmer, so they're a little bit smaller in the hand.
Thanks, man. I've been working out.
Yeah.
That's true.
But also, actually, I'll start with titanium.
Titanium.
They're titanium now.
Is what I felt like about it.
So titanium is both stronger and lighter than stainless steel. I only care about one of those things. It's lighter in the hand. That's really nice to me. I don't think the stronger is going to matter. And my only reason is because my anecdotal evidence of I've dropped my iPhone on the stainless steel rails before. It just gets dented and it's totally fine. That's not the part that breaks.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's the glass that breaks.
Whenever I see stuff like this, it's like it's the glass that's breaking that I care the most about.
And it's the same glass as last year as far as we can tell. It's ceramic shield and all that, but it's not like you have like thicker like bumpers around the corners or anything. It's like, all right, titanium is lighter and that's better.
Well, and apparently titanium scratches easier, and that's why they did the brushed look.
I like the brush look better though.
No, yeah,
that's
it looks-
better than polished anyways.
I agree, because it gets less fingerprints. And
I think it just looks, but
looks
fingerprints and it's shiny. This just like will always kind of look the
Yeah.
same, which I think is way better. And brush metal looks sweet, I think.
Yeah.
definitely.
So that's that. It's also got a
Bro, you didn't say it's space titanium.
Oh, yeah, true.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
The
Come
same
on.
titanium they used
They
on
really-
They
the
ripped apart the
lunar
Mars
lander.
rover to build these phones.
They said it's class 5 titanium alloy.
Grade 5.
Grade 5.
Grade 5? Sorry, grade, of course. How could I forget? Grade
Fifth grade,
grade 5. Fifth grade titanium alloy.
5G?
Aerospace grade. It's in the Mars rover. I don't know where, but it's in there somewhere. So take that for what you want.
They ended the space shuttle so they could build iPhone 15 Pro.
You had to use the metal, bro.
they mined it.
We recycled the space shuttle.
Yeah.
There's a new set of cameras. We'll talk in depth about the cameras, but there's also an A17 Pro chip, which is a 3 nanometer chip. It's the first time they've used the word Pro in a chip, which leads me to believe they're going to keep doing that.
That is interesting, though.
Yeah.
Because you know how they put the A16 Bionic in the regular one this year? That means next year, the iPhone 16 regular will have a new chip called the A17 non-Pro.
They've given themselves the window to completely reuse the A16 Bionic again, or to make an A17 Bionic that is a step below what the A17 Pro is now.
That will probably be all the ones that got binned because they didn't meet the threshold for what they wanted.
Yeah, one less GPU core. It might happen.
Yeah.
I'm not making a prediction now, but I'm just saying they gave themselves that window.
Yeah, I could
Could
see
happen.
it. Yeah.
But it is a very, very impressive. I mean, it's a 3 nanometer chip. We haven't seen that anywhere else yet. Allegedly, pretty big performance increases and also efficiency increases. I hope it's better battery life. I mean, I'm always hoping for better battery life, but there's no faster charging, so I'm just hoping for better battery all the time. That A17 Pro chip also has a USB 3 controller on it, which means, if you were paying attention, that the other chip does not.
Yeah.
So the Pro iPhones will have faster wired data transfer speeds, 10 gigabits per second, huge upgrade over USB 2. And the non-Pro iPhones will have the same USB 2.0 speeds that Lightning did. 480 megabits per second. Not fast at all. And I said this in the impressions video, like, most people probably don't care. Like, how much do you plug your phone in for real? Like, do you really transfer that much data? It's going to matter for the Pro phones because people are going to shoot a lot more big files, ProRes video being the one that I interface with the most. And I cannot wait to not have to wait 45 minutes to import 15 minutes of video.
Every time we do an autofocus.
I feel like the thing that takes the longest in autofocus is transferring the footage over. Like, you are so efficient with those. You get them out before I even know you start.
I think
and most of it is you waiting.
They literally take longer to... If you broke down the pie chart of how long it takes, it's like an hour to shoot, an hour to import, and an hour to edit.
Yeah.
It might be more than an hour to import sometimes. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm happy about that. It's not Thunderbolt. I kind of wish they went all the way and gave us Thunderbolt like 20, 30, 40 gigabits per second. Maybe they'll do that in another future version. But
yeah, I could see them waiting to push that later to make it like we went all the way.
Big
Thunderbolt
update.
3, baby.
yeah, I mean, it's still very capable. Like, you can now do like Capture One sessions on the iPhone. I would never do this, but you could literally have like your iPhone plugged into a monitor with Capture One running and just like do a live photo shoot with 100 megabyte files flying back
But
and
can
forth.
you imagine? You're like, I'm a professional photographer. I'm having a bunch of people in my studio, and I'm using my iPhone.
You can go straight to a hard drive.
That's true.
Yes.
I
which
think
also enables 4K 60 ProRes.
Oh yeah, you need it
If
in there
you're
4K
hooked up to
60
the hard
Pro.
drive.
That
I
might
know
be
you
my
love
hack.
60 FPS.
Well, what I do love
slow-mo.
is if I use
True.
a much faster drive,
Yes.
I want to try this, like a Thunderbolt drive, plug it in, shoot ProRes directly to that from the iPhone, unplug, plug into my computer, 2-minute import.
I think that'll be faster than just going straight in.
I think it will be
That
faster.
might be the move.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try that. Stay tuned to autofocus, see if I do that.
Yeah.
Nice plug.
Yeah,
Yeah, the port.
Smooth. Yeah.
The port.
I'm pretty good at this.
Nice plug.
Yeah.
All right.
But I think the camera is the last
I just got that. Good job.
big.
No,
I like that.
well,
too.
there's also action.
Oh,
There's action, but we also haven't talked about the colors that just,
Well, they're not that.
We haven't even
look
talked
nice.
about ray
They're
tracing.
sick.
Okay. So we've got a bucket of things: ray tracing, action button, cameras. Which one are we going to do first?
Ray tracing, just because it's the quickest.
Okay, you
They
can
have
do
ray
4
tracing.
times faster.
There's ray tracing.
All right, so the cameras.
Please explain this. I'm so confused.
So
The
a guy
cameras?
named Ray, he. Okay, so a lot of
you game,
Android
Ellis?
phones. Yeah, are you? A
Oh, wait, I thought we were
Aren't
talking
you
about
a gamer?
cameras.
Yeah,
No. Oh no.
he was joking.
Yeah.
It was a pretty bad joke.
What?
I'm just saying.
Wow. Okay.
Well, you're doing it, so just explain ray tracing.
Oh,
Tell
really?
us the
Okay,
story
so-
of Raymond Trace.
Yeah, Raymond Trace. Many years ago, in 2018 or so, NVIDIA created this thing called ray tracing.
This is the worst bedtime story I've ever heard.
It's to put you to sleep. That's the point. So generally in video games, they have to like guess where the lighting is supposed to be using these fake lights that don't actually emulate real light rays, because doing that math with a bazillion photons is really, really hard. So NVIDIA created this thing called ray tracing, which effectively it has accelerated cores to do specifically how real light bounces off of objects. People memed this for a very long time because they had this like RTX on, RTX off thing.
Yeah.
And they charged a lot more for the cards, and a lot of people would probably be like, this is not that big of a deal.
I think it depends on what games you're playing. There's some where it like
They have it in Minecraft now.
I didn't know they actually had it.
Yeah, there's a
That's
lot of
funny.
games where it looks a lot better. There's a lot of games where you're like, okay. I
And it
guess.
enabled like way more in terms of like
Yeah.
glass reflections and light reflections and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But I think you have to be playing those like super crazy
I was playing
like
the Spider-Man game on the
ultra
PS5,
res.
and like you'd swing by a window and like see a reflection.
it could do that way
Yeah.
better than it can now, which it wouldn't. But yes, it's
I
on the
think-
iPhone now.
I think the future, when video games are even more immersive, that kind of tech will be important. So it's good they're implementing it now. But I think Snapdragon chips started implementing that like 4 years ago. So it coming now is fun.
I think it was already enabled. It's just 4 times faster on the A17 Pro.
Yeah. They
which
showed us
means
a
you can-
demo that they made specifically for the Pro, and it ran at 30 FPS, whereas the
It would have run at like 6 or 7.
6 or 7 FPS.
Yeah.
The cool thing though regarding ray tracing is there's this whole conversation about Apple and gaming, and they were able to get a bunch of major studios to port full-fledged games to the iPhone 15 Pro.
Oh yeah, like Resident Evil 4
Resident Evil
is coming,
Village,
right?
Resident Evil 4, and Assassin's Creed something. I don't know.
One of them.
The
One of the
50th one.
1900.
Yeah.
As a non-gamer, do you care?
No.
I don't have an iPhone, so
I don't get. Yeah.
But
I
would
don't
you want one
game
now? That
on my phone?
not really. There was a point where they said like, which previously was only able on consoles, PCs, and Mac, and I just thought that was funny that they mentioned it was on
Everything else?
PCs before Mac.
Yeah.
But I thought
That was funny. They
I thought
brought
that
up-
was silly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how ray tracing was the easier thing to explain out of the 3 options we
Yeah.
had, and here we are still.
Yeah, it is funny that Apple's leaning into gaming and not. They did this at WWDC with like they're trying to make it easier to game on Macs with that Metal Toolkit thing, and now you can just play full-fledged console games on your phone, which is like I don't know if people are gonna do that, but I know in other markets like Asia, like in China, China's like something crazy like 20% of Apple's revenue comes from China or
a
something.
lot of people play games.
Mobile
on their
gaming
phones.
there is
Mobile games huge.
huge.
Yeah.
So if they can get more people to buy iPhones because of that, they're gonna up their revenue like crazy.
You got games on your phone?
No.
Dude, you have no idea.
All right, cameras.
Hey, you got games on that thing?
I actually think I'm going to just jump in just real quick to the action button. I think that's a pretty quick one.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
a new button in
Yeah.
the same exact spot where the mute switch was on the Pro iPhones. And it is a customizable button. And I actually really like it because it's really customizable.
Yeah.
It's not to the full extent that, what was that button on, Was it
The
a
Google Assistant button.
The Bixby
No,
button.
there was a couple. I mean, I think it was an Asus phone that let me just literally do whatever I want.
Zenfone 6 or something.
Yeah, it's not full on Zenfone, but there is a nice little UI on the iPhone that lets you choose what you want it to do. You can hold it down and it by default will still be your mute switch. Or if you want, it can be a bunch of other stuff. It can be a focus mode changer. It'll go to a specific focus mode every time you press, or it can be a magnifier, or it can open the voice notes app. It can open a camera.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Flashlight,
cool.
yeah.
Flashlight.
I love the
and-
voice notes app, by the way.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will find that useful. I will
super
probably
dope.
do camera because that's what I do on every other phone. But the most interesting one is at the very end of the list. There's a Siri shortcuts list,
Boom.
and so you can basically have that launch whatever app you want. If you have a routine you want it to run, open an app, do a certain task, start a new task, start a new calendar event, whatever. You can do that. It might be a little delay. I want to see about that. I'll try in the review, but it's there.
And it'll change based on your focus mode,
Exactly.
which is
Oh,
amazing.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
That's
so if
really
you're in the I have a morning focus mode, press it, it starts your coffee maker. And then you go to work, press it, it starts your coffee maker at work.
Nice. You can see what David does on his Siri shortcuts.
Marques, I have a question about it.
Yeah.
So you hold it and then it functions the same as the
Yeah.
silent slider.
There's no
Does it
normal
have a really nice haptic yeah? Because the animation kind of implied
Good
that, but I
question.
haven't gotten to hold it.
Great sound effect.
Thank you. I'll do it again. Yeah.
I was surprised that it's a normal button. I thought it was going to be like the MacBook trackpad. 'cause
I feel like them kind of loading up to that, but they're not quite ready for it yet. There are nice haptics behind the button. If you just touch the button, it will do the little haptics and show you what mode you're currently in. And if you long hold, I'm forgetting the haptic pattern. It might be the same, it might not be, but that's when you get the real heavy haptics and it's like, I'm switching. So
And I think Dynamic Island references like what it's changing as well
Exactly.
too. There's like
Yeah.
a nice little animation to show
They
what's
also mapped the haptic pattern you get when you change into silent mode with the mute switch to feel exactly the same when you hold that, so that you can do it in your pocket just like you do with the mute switch. And then when it is silenced, I believe, it will show a little silence icon in the top left corner. All
yeah,
the
there's a new
time.
indicator. Yeah.
Okay.
Even in the always on display mode,
Oh,
because they
okay.
want to basically make it so you're not losing anything from the mute switch, so you're always knowing what kind of mode it's in,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool.
The only
It's a
thing
good way
I'm
to think
missing
about
from the mute switch is the little hint
Red.
of color.
it. Yeah, the orange.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll get there.
hoping it was
Just
going to be accent.
accent color, man.
Yeah.
It's and do you know what makes me mad is it has a really nice animation screen for when you're switching things, and it shows all of them in different colors. I was like, you're just showing me how nice this would have looked like if it had an accent color.
could look.
If I had one.
But there is a bunch of camera stuff per usual with the Pro iPhone, and I'm very interested in a lot of how well some of this will work.
Yeah.
So, first of all, new camera system, new larger 48 megapixel main sensor. It is also doing the same 24 megapixel kick out of the files by default.
Yeah.
Cool, great. I think the ultra wide's a little bigger too. There's a couple other modes, a new photonic engine and nighttime portrait mode shots, and there's a bunch of other stuff enabled. Here's what I was most curious by. And when I first saw this, I was like, I don't understand this at all. But now it's way more interesting. There's a 1x button and a 2x button. And you already know what the 2x button does, right? It crops into the middle 12 megapixels.
Yeah.
Then there's the 3x button, or in this case, with the new 15 Pro Max, a 5x button, which goes all the way into the furthest telephoto lens. But they now also have, if you press the 1x button again, it will zoom in to 1.2x. And if you press it again, it'll zoom in to 1.5x. And I was like, okay, is there some world where people shoot 1.5x photos so often that they want a preset for
It's
it?
about the focal length.
Yeah, I think it's about
It
the
really
focal
is.
length. Oh, okay.
So and this is my
get
first
heated.
impression as like,
David was about to flip this chair.
I don't understand. Like, what? Just crop your photo later. Like, I don't get it. It's totally fine to just shoot at 1x and then crop later. It's not. But it isn't what's happening. It isn't actually a digital crop. So this is the correction. So what's actually happening is Apple is doing this same like processing that they're doing, where you know how they're getting a 24 megapixel shot on the full 48 megapixel frame. They're doing that same 24 megapixel output at the 1x, and again natively at 1.2x, and again natively at 1.5x.
Yeah.
And that's because people really like the focal lengths of 28 millimeters, and is it 24,
24, 28, 35.
and 35 millimeters, which is 1.5x.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you like the focal length look of 35 millimeters over 24, You'll hit that button, you'll get to 1.5x, and it will not be a digital crop. It will be still full quality 24 megapixel shot with all the resolution that you would have gotten at 1x anyway.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You can even set your default 1x button to be 1.5x if you want. It's in the settings. You can just do 1.5x every time.
Yeah.
So that's fascinating to me. I don't know how well it's going to actually work. I really want to test it. Also, like the 15 Pro does 3x telephoto. The 15 Pro Max does 5x telephoto. How do they handle that gap
between
3x and 5x on the two phones? We'll have to see. Is it worse on the Pro? Will a 4x shot be worse on the Pro Max? Probably.
I feel like most people use 3x more than they use 5x. So it's interesting that they're doing the tetraprism.
Yeah, a 3x shot will look worse on the Pro Max because it doesn't have a 3x lens. You'll be digitally zooming in.
Yeah.
So something to think about, but there's a lot of new camera stuff.
I thought it was funny too, and now we can see where it came from. There was that rumor that the Pro and Pro Max might get a periscope lens, but now we can just see that they saw a 3x and a 5x, thought it was a periscope lens since still 3 cameras, except they're just 2 different lenses on
Well, the
each.
Max is a periscope lens.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's
then I just-
similar to a periscope.
I thought it was not
it's-
quite.
A periscope lens and a tetraprism are effectively the same thing.
Almost. So a periscope lens faces 90 degrees into the side of the phone and then
okay,
reflects light once to get out.
Yeah.
This tetraprism lens is still
bounces.
facing the same way, but they've
That's
compressed the lens into this sort of like multiple reflections and then so it's still facing the same way.
45-degree bouncing thing.
Not that it matters to the end user, but they
Yeah.
have this 3-axis sensor shift stabilization, and it's
Yeah.
still facing the same way, so that's kind of cool.
Damn, Marques just actually, David.
Yeah, it's just
I'm pretty sure I was still wrong in the
This
process
is
anyways.
semantics,
Yeah,
all right?
it doesn't actually matter, but that's something to note why they're naming it something different, I guess.
Tetraprism.
Tetraprism, cool.
I think they just use those big words to make people think it's more advanced than it actually
I think
is.
it's more prisms than a normal periscope lens, so maybe you might as well flex it if
I
you're
guess.
if you're Apple. I
Flex
guess
it if you got it.
flex it if you got it. Why not?
Yep.
Faster Lightning or faster USB-C. We did that. Same charging speeds. I'm
with the
sad about
cameras,
that.
though, with the cameras. Now that they have log recording,
Yeah.
you could theoretically mix it in with other footage. And Apple is apparently, I asked them about this, they're apparently providing a log transformation to Rec 709, which is cool.
Yeah.
Because
And HDR as well.
Yeah, and an HDR version of that, which is really awesome. They said to developers, which is interesting. So I feel like you might have to have a developer account to get it, which is kind of weird.
Well, that should not.
Marques just broke.
If as a user I can shoot log, as a user I should be
but
able
then you
to
have to
get
pay
the LUT.
$100.
That would be insane. No,
I'm
you
not
should give me
sure
the LUT
on that. Yeah.
Someone's gonna sell the LUT for $1 on the App Store. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, you can shoot log if you want. Yeah.
Spatial video.
Yes.
Yes. So now, so with Vision Pro,
Yeah.
we had that meme where
did.
the dad had the Vision Pro on and was pushing his face
Birthday
into the
party.
daughter's face and her friends, and they're
Like birthday cake. Yeah.
He was recording spatial audio on
Spatial video.
headset.
Yeah.
Spatial video.
So you can only do spatial video on the Pro because the non-Pro, the cameras are like at a 45-degree angle of each other. But to do parallax video, you have to have them in the same axis. So the way that the camera is set up in the Pros is like main camera top, wide camera below, telephoto on the right. So it uses the wide camera and the main camera and just does parallax, and that creates the 3D spatial video effect,
So you can watch that back.
which is so much more natural. Like, I actually think the spatial video thing is kind of cool now.
Because you
Before
can
I
actually
was-
do it in different places without having to take the Pro and strap it to your face and take video of it.
100%.
Which is crazy.
People already take videos of their daughter's birthday party. If they take spatial video and then they can send it to the grandma who's wearing a Vision Pro at her apartment.
That's depressing.
I will forever be intrigued by the decision, though, to shoot that precious moment as spatial video.
I guess the question is, what is the video like? You can only view it in
think
that
so.
because it is just taking it from 2 cameras. I
it should be able
assume maybe it can
to
record
res.
from both.
Is it taking the full
I think-
quality from both?
I think so.
Really?
I bet it
I
would.
think it has
mean,
the amount of pipeline.
So
I do not know this for sure, but I can assume it's shooting from both cameras, and you would
would-
have yes.
It would be nice if it was like
But you
live
can do it straight
photos.
to a hard drive now, so you're good.
You know how live photos, like you never select live photos, it just always does it in the
Yeah.
background? It would be cool if you selected spatial video and it also kicked out a regular video that you get. And then it's like, this also has spatial capabilities baked in.
I know that you can't shoot 4K 120 on the phone because it doesn't process fast enough. And I just think if you can't shoot 4K 60 twice, then you can't shoot spatial 4K 60.
Unless you have 2 ISPs, which it has, right?
Well, you can't shoot 4K 120 now.
Right.
So whatever the max ability of the phone is right now, we'll say is 4K 60.
But usually it's not like multiplicative. Like if you have 2 separate ISPs, those don't always merge together to be able to do like 4K 120. Yeah.
Well, then we should be able to do 4K 120. I think the reason we can't do 4K 120 is because we've maxed out the ISPs we have on the phone.
Probably true, yeah.
So if you want to shoot 4K 60 spatial video, you won't have enough computing power to do it because that's 2 4K 60, which is basically 4K 120, and we don't have the processing
4K
power.
30 maybe.
So you could do 4K 30. Just it won't be necessarily the max quality.
Yeah.
This is looking so
I lost
far
you guys
ahead,
so
I
long
don't
ago.
know.
Well, it's interesting because you think about it from like Apple's perspective, and it's like they probably want everything you watch on Vision Pro to be as high frame rate as
That's what I would
possible
assume,
to make sure you don't get dizzy. So I
Yeah.
feel like they want you to shoot 4K 60.
Yeah, that's like a 90 hertz something like 90
Yeah.
hertz screen.
Yeah. I don't know.
We'll see.
You can buy 12 terabytes of iCloud storage now. So
That's
you
true.
don't have to worry about it.
That was the
People
loudest
actually
cheer.
cheered.
Yeah, that was the loudest cheer.
It was.
And it was I want to know if the family plan will be updated
Of course you do.
because they.
I thought they did mention that it was.
I have a family plan on every single platform. With my family.
With your family. Yes.
I don't have a family, so. But
David, no.
anyway, because I share that 2 terabytes of iCloud storage with my family, and it would be really nice if I could use 12. And
Sure.
I want to see what the pricing is because they immediately after they said we now have up to 12 terabytes, they were like, so family plan members can have even more storage
Yeah, I think they
together, and
mentioned
I
it
was
earlier.
like, how much is that going to cost me though? Because I really
I
want
mean,
that.
more, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably more.
They also mentioned, last thing we'll talk about on this, I think, is price.
Yeah.
I really liked how they said same price, $999 for Pro, and the Max is the same price as the 256 gigabyte model last time.
They had to explain that so
Yeah.
hard when
It
Jaws was like, so technically,
I think I
it's
wrote-
the same price.
Also matches last year's price with this level of storage.
Yeah. Which like NAND chips are like $6.
Okay, so just for those listening, the iPhone 15 Pro is the same price as the iPhone 14 Pro, $999.
Yeah.
The iPhone 15 Pro Max starts $100 more than the 14 Pro Max did. It's $1199, but it also starts at 256 gigs of storage instead of 128. So the 256 gig phone last year was also $1199. You just don't have the ability to do 128.
Right.
So technically,
Yeah.
it's the same price.
They're upping their base margins by $100 a unit.
Well played.
So interesting. Yeah.
Well played.
Also, did you see the website updated that the $20 Apple polishing cloth is now compatible with the titanium iPhone?
Wait, actually?
Yeah.
They updated the
They updated
polishing
it.
cloth
Yeah.
compatibility
page? No
chart.
way.
Yeah.
Someone's in charge.
What
of
else
that?
are you gonna clean it with?
Dude. Someone gets paid
That's-
$300,000 a year to do
That's
that.
incredible.
Yeah, for
Somebody hit enter on that and they were like, "Yeah, I knew this was coming."
This is my job.
Real quick, I know we got to kind of like move this, but
Yeah.
we didn't talk about colors. What's your favorite color of Pro?
Interesting question. Raw.
I think that's proof of how good the raw titanium is because the raw black titanium is very feels like your phone, and you
It's
still like
true.
the raw titanium.
It's true. There
looks
is a
so
matte
good.
black phone.
I changed my
think-
opinion.
I think fingerprints will make that a little tough.
Yeah.
There is also a new blue. It's slightly
Bad.
blue, but it's dark blue.
It's bad.
It's not as blue. Pacific blue is better. I think we all agree there's better blues. But then there's white and raw. And this raw titanium is kind of like this warmer, more natural looking titanium color. I like that.
It looks really good.
It kind of reminds me of this
Yeah.
Apple Watch titanium.
I
That's why I
wish they
should have
had
had an orange accent button.
I wish they brought
Yeah.
gold titanium, which is a different mixture technically, but it has like this really nice gold sheen in it. And my Fujifilm TX1 is gold titanium, raw
it is.
gold titanium.
Dang.
I want
Sounds
my
expensive.
I want my phone from 2023 to match my camera from 1990. So
What were they
David.
thinking?
yeah, come on, guys. You should have been thinking 50 years in the past.
Fascinating.